You've spent decades saving and investing. You've sacrificed, budgeted, and built up your nest egg. Now you're looking at your statements and beginning to think about questions like how much, how long, and what if. Maybe you've crossed that $500,000 mark with $500,000 saved. That sounds like a lot of money. Or maybe you've worked even longer, invested more, and now you're sitting on $1 million. For some, the number's even higher, $2 million, $5 million. Those sound like big numbers, don't they? But here's the reality check. Retirement isn't just about how much you've saved. It's about how much income those savings can reliably give you year after year without leaving you more time after the end of your money. And this is where most Canadians are surprised, because the number you see on your account statement is not the same as the amount you'll actually spend. Taxes take a bite, government programs like CPP and OAS add some back in, inflation chips away slowly year after year, and the order you withdraw your money from different accounts can change everything. So whether you're entering retirement with $500,000, $1 million, or $2 million, the real question is, how much of that do you actually get to use? And more importantly, how do you structure it so you don't run out too soon and maybe even get to transfer some of it to your beneficiaries? Hi, I'm Stefano Francesca, Certified Financial Planner and Senior Wealth Advisor at Next Step Wealth Management with IPC Securities Corporation. If you find this helpful, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps more Canadians see this. And if you'd like to see how much income your savings can provide and build a personalized plan for your retirement, you can book a time with me using the link in the description below. Today, we're going to take those three milestones, $500,000, $1 million, and $2 million, and walk through what kind of retirement income they can actually provide. And along the way, I'll show you why the number doesn't tell the whole story and why planning is the difference between feeling wealthy on paper and actually living comfortably in retirement. Now, special note, undoubtedly, you're going to post comments about an investment that produces X return and that you're living off the gains and that you're not touching your capital and that you only need this amount of money and you'll be fine. But this isn't about anecdotal experiences. Everyone's situation is their own, so your investment portfolio isn't going to be the same as the next person's. What's right for you may not be appropriate for someone else. Some of you will allocate conservatively in retirement and others more aggressively. Your asset allocation will, of course, dictate the return on your retirement assets. And yes, the tool you utilize to get that return to substantiate your income is an important piece of the puzzle. That's an integral part of our Next Step Wealth Management service, where we have one-on-one discussions with our clients, helping them make the most appropriate investment choice for their personal situation. In this video, we're focusing on the big picture and all the other variables that so many people overlook. So let's get into it. Part one, the $500,000 retirement scenario. Let's start with $500,000. For many Canadians, hitting the $500,000 retirement savings mark feels like a huge accomplishment. And it is. But when you start turning that lump sum into income, it doesn't stretch as far as people imagine. A common rule of thumb is the 4% withdrawal rule. Now, you all know how I feel about withdrawal rules and the rule of thumb. I prefer that you have a personalized financial plan tailored to your unique needs. In absence of that, applying that rule, $500,000 would give you about $20,000 a year before tax. Now, some years you might need more, some years you might spend less. And if you're too cautious, leaving it mostly in cash or GICs, inflation will quietly reduce your spending power every year. So $20,000 sounds low, right? That's because on its own, it is. But here's where the bigger picture comes in. Add in CPP and OAS, and for a couple that could be significant, and suddenly that $500,000 doesn't have to do all the heavy lifting. Retiring as an individual with this size portfolio can be challenging, as government benefits won't go as far. We did a video on that topic just a while ago, and you can view it in the link we're providing, or go to my channel library and you'll find it there. Remember, it's not what you make, it's what you keep that's most important. If most of the $500,000 is in an RRSP, every dollar you take out is taxable. Depending on your tax rate, that means your $20,000 might look more like $15,000 after tax, depending on your province. In Alberta, for example, combined federal and provincial rates could easily reduce that take-home number. So at $500,000, retirement is possible, but it usually requires careful budgeting, part-time work in the early years, or leaning heavily on government benefits. Without a plan, the risk is drawing too much too soon and running down the account in your 70s. Part 2, the $1 million retirement scenario. Now let's look at 1 million, the number most people think of as the gold standard for retirement. At 4% withdrawal rate, you're looking at about $40,000 a year in withdrawals. Add in CPP and OAS, and for many couples, you could be around $70,000 to $80,000 of income. That feels much more comfortable. But here's the trap. Where the money is held matters just as much as how much you have. If that 1 million is all in your RSP, every withdrawal is taxable. You'll need to plan your withdrawals carefully to avoid jumping into higher tax brackets later when RRIF minimums kick in at age 72. But if you've diversified your income sources, some in RSP, some in a TFSA, and maybe some in non-registered accounts, you have flexibility. TFSA withdrawals are tax-free. Non-registered investments might be taxed more favorably depending upon whether the income is interest, dividends, capital gains, or tax-free return of capital. Here's where two retirees with the same $1 million can end up with very different outcomes. One draws entirely from an RSP and loses a big chunk to tax. The other strategically mixes withdrawals from a TFSA and RSP, keeping taxable income lower and avoiding OAS clawbacks. Same savings, very different lifestyles. So at 1 million, retirement can be comfortable, but only if you have a coordinated and strategic withdrawal strategy. Part 3, the 2 million retirement scenario. Now let's jump to $2 million. For many Canadians, this feels like more than enough. And in many cases, it can be. At 4% withdrawal, you're looking at about $80,000 a year from your portfolio. Add CPP and OAS, and you're easily into six-figure annual income. The challenge here is managing taxes and clawbacks. With 2 million, your RSP will eventually need to be converted to a RRIF. At that point, the minimum withdrawals could be quite large, possibly pushing you into higher tax brackets in your 70s and 80s. On top of that, once your income is too high, your OAS benefits can be clawed back. This is why many high net worth retirees in Alberta and across Canada use strategies like an RSP drawdown in their 60s. Taking more out earlier before government benefits kick in so they can smooth out their tax bill over time. By doing this, they may reduce the lifetime tax burden and avoid losing OAS later. So yes, 2 million provides plenty of flexibility and comfort, but without planning, you could unintentionally send more to the CRA than necessary, or leave your heirs with a big tax bill when you pass away. Part 4, why the number alone doesn't tell the story. Here's the lesson so far. 500,000, 1 million, and 2 million all sound very different. But the reality is, the raw number doesn't tell the full story. 4 key factors make the difference. Number 1, taxes. Income from different accounts is treated differently. $1 from an RSP is not the same as $1 from a TFSA. In non-registered accounts, income types are treated very differently. $1 in interest income is very different than $1 in Canadian dividends or capital gains. Understanding the after-tax impact is critical. Number 2, timing. The order you withdraw from accounts can either protect your benefits or push you into higher tax brackets. Number 3, inflation. Even at 3%, your costs can double over a 24-year retirement. Without some growth, your money simply won't keep up and you'll slowly lose purchasing power. Number 4, longevity. Retiring at 65 and living to 95 means planning for 3 decades of withdrawals. That's longer than many people expect. This is why 2 couples with the same savings can live completely different retirements. It's not about luck, it's about planning. Part 5, the role of CPP, OAS, and pensions. Now, let's bring in the government benefits. CPP and OAS combined can add a very stable base layer of income security for individuals and couples. At 65, current OAS benefits provide about $8,900 yearly for each person. The average CPP benefit at age 65 this year is about $10,000. For your average couple, that's an extra $37,800, and it's guaranteed inflation-protected income. If you also have a defined benefit pension, even a modest one, that could be worth hundreds of thousands in current savings value. A pension is essentially prepaid income, and it reduces the pressure on your portfolio. This is why planning is not just about investments. It's about coordinating pensions, CPP, OAS, RSPs, TFSAs, non-registered accounts, and the retained earnings from your corporation if you have one. So they all work together. Part 6, putting it all together. So what do we learn from all this? 500,000 can work, but usually with careful budgeting and a reliance on CPP, OAS, and potentially part-time work. 1 million offers more flexibility, but withdrawal strategy and taxes determine how much you keep. 2 million can provide a very comfortable retirement, but without planning, you risk higher taxes and OAS clawbacks. The real lesson is this: it's not about the savings number alone. It's about having a personalized strategy that matches your lifestyle goals, your tax situation, and how long you need your money to last. At the end of the day, retirement income isn't about a magic number on a statement. It's about turning what you've saved into sustainable, tax-efficient income. Whether you have 500,000, 1 million, or 2 million, the difference between just getting by and living comfortably often comes down to planning. If you're a Canadian retiree or within 10 to 15 years of retirement and you want a personalized strategy, click the link in the description to book a consultation. Let's take the next step.